What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to talk about PvP in Destiny 2 and some of my concerns for the Crucible. Firstly, it's worth saying that yes, we don't have all of the information yet, we don't have the game, there are surely things that we don't know about, but from what we do know, however, there are a bunch of huge changes for Destiny 2 which are focused primarily around PvP balance, so I wanted to talk about the direction for PvP in the new game. By the way, this isn't a rant about PvP or anything like that. These are just a few of my thoughts. These are, of course, my opinion. I don't expect all of you guys to agree with everything I say, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's go over what we know first. Destiny 2 PvP will switch to being 4v4 across all game modes. The reason for this is that Bungie want to remove some of the chaos from the Crucible, allowing players to understand and respond to what's happening in the game. While I'm a big fan of 6v6, I certainly understand this move. Sometimes 6v6 does get too chaotic, and they want to make the experience more learnable, which is probably a good move. The HUD for PvP has been redesigned and now shows all players and their classes and whether they have supers. It shows who is collected and where power ammo is being collected from, and areas of the map are named below the radar for callout purposes. We have huge changes to abilities and their effectiveness in PvP. Sticky grenades don't one-shot people, melees do a fraction of the damage they did before, and on top of this, the time to kill has been increased. All around, the focus is on gunplay. All of this is pretty fantastic. It's exactly what PvP needs in my opinion, and by no means is any of this stuff an afterthought. I just want to make that clear. These issues have been a focus from the ground up. PvP balance has been further enabled with the changes to special and heavy weapons. They now combine in the power slot and you won't have ammo for these weapons readily available all of the time. Again, primary gunplay is the focus here. Before we go any further though, many of these changes are happening at the expense of PvE content, at least to a degree. We'll have to live with a more limited weapons system, less customizable subclasses, and less powerful abilities, at least from what we've seen so far. These things are a big component of making the gameplay more entertaining in PvE. You know, running a void lock with scatter grenades and energy drain, or any ability spam type of play is hugely enjoyable, but I feel like that's something that will suffer a little bit in order to balance the game more. I'm not saying that Destiny will suddenly feel bad to play or anything like that, but it will be different. So with all of this stuff in mind and moving back to PvP, what concerns me the most are the statements from Bungie about PvP endgame and what we know so far. They say that they are not currently announcing ranked play for PvP, but there will be a quick play and competitive playlist. So what does this mean exactly? Does quick play have no skill matchmaking system? Is it just completely random? Does that mean that competitive is a skill-based matchmaking playlist? There is very little clarity on what this really means, because if competitive means skill-based matchmaking, then isn't that basically the same as Destiny 1's PvP on the whole? Right now, it's kind of up in the air. Even more bizarre is that Bungie don't seem to be sure on what these playlists mean either. They say that there will be ways to show prowess for your achievements, which is essentially what a ranked system is. And yes, that's kind of true, but at the same time, it's not really the core purpose. Ranked play is a way of providing some real progression for multiplayer, giving players a platform to improve their gameplay, see how they rank amongst their friends, generally track their success and the rewards that go with it. Ranked play is about actual depth in the progression system and not just switching skill-based matchmaking on and off and then throwing you an emblem for having won some games or something like that. In that respect, it almost sounds more like Arcade from Overwatch or something. But in my opinion, if this is the competitive playlist, then that's not really enough. My biggest issue here is that so much of Destiny 2 seems to have been designed to make PvP balance less of a nightmare, yet after all of this, Bungie can't really tell us whether there will be meaningful systems which serve to justify all of these changes. For me, with PvP being such a huge component of the endgame once all of the other content is done, I really feel like Bungie should already have some of these systems in place. At the same time though, it is early days. Bungie could have something ready which they aren't speaking about yet, I'm simply voicing my concerns about the game because matchmaking in Destiny 1 was somewhat nightmarish for at least some folks. I can only really speak from my perspective, but when I go into PvP, I'm a fairly casual player. I'm not insane at PvP or anything, but as someone with around a 1.7 KD, I do get matched with fairly good players, often players who have more time to invest than I do these days, and it's almost impossible to throw some fun weapons on and relax, and this is one of the reasons why I would personally enjoy some separation in PvP. It has to have meaning though, and right now, I don't understand the meaning of quick play versus competitive for Destiny 2 because there doesn't seem to be a progression system there, and the way Bungie have spoken about it offers very little clarity. On top of this, private matches will not be there at the launch of Destiny 2, and this is something that they need to fix quickly if you ask me, because we already have established competitive communities who use those tools, and to not have them at launch for Destiny 2, you know, it shouldn't be going backwards in that respect. Datto did make a good point about how some folks are saying Overwatch did not have competitive at launch, his point being that Overwatch was a brand new game and they did assure the audience that competitive was coming very soon, which gave players something to work towards and prepare for. Overwatch was, however, brand new and Destiny is not. Bungie's biggest focus with Destiny 2 is giving us a vastly improved story experience with improved systems, but essentially more of the same, which is really what we want. And I do have every faith that Bungie can do that. Equally, I believe that Bungie can and will probably make a more balanced Crucible than before. I just want to see some rigid systems for PvP with a clear outline of how you can progress as a PvP player. I am personally willing to take the hit to PvE if necessary, but I'm sure many players will agree when I say that it has to have been worthwhile. You know, Crucible is a unique multiplayer experience, let's give it what it deserves. Either way, I'm incredibly excited to play PvP in Destiny 2, and I would be curious to hear what you guys think about all of this as well. Again, this is simply my thought process right now. I'm not saying that Destiny 2 will fail in these respects by any means. I'm not saying that you should agree with me either. It is, however, a conversation which I think needs to be had, since this will be our Destiny 2 fill for at least 2 years now, so it needs to be done correctly. Either way, let me know your thoughts below, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, a like is appreciated, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe if you want to see more Destiny 2 content. I appreciate you watching as always though, and for now, whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.